Evander Holyfield Real Deal Boxing was a very solid boxing game on the Sega Genesis, and probably the best sim in all of boxing video games at the time. A year later, we'd get the sequel, Greatest Heavyweights. It mirrors the original in a lot of ways. It looks the same, plays the same, and has the same career mode where you fight your way through the top 30 made up specifically for this game prize fighters. This time you get some even funnier names like Swifty Gish, Jumpy Malone, and Stinky Cooper. These names will make appearances in the nicely done newspaper front page segments that follows each of your career matches with a headline of your fight, and you get other headlines like Dixon Lick Slam. Unfortunately, you don't get to fight Holyfield for the championship. This time it's this other generic fighter named Mike Dixon. He's the one that was licking lamb. But don't worry, they make up for this because, like the box art showcases, you've got 8 of the all-time greats in boxing history, including the returning Evander Holyfield. You also get Rocky Marciano, Joe Louis, Jack Dempsey, Larry Holmes, Floyd Patterson, Joe Frazier, and the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali. One notable absence was Mike Tyson, which would have been a great follow-up appearance after Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, but he was serving his infamous prison sentence at the time, so yeah, that wasn't happening. After you dethrone Mike Dixon, instead of defending your title against opponents in the ranking pool, this time you go through the gauntlet of these real-life greatest heavyweights. You can also put together an 8-man tournament between this legacy group in a dream fight extravaganza to see who the greatest truly is. Now, I said before that the game plays like its predecessor, but there are some notable changes. First of all, you can use the 6-button controller, which makes it easier to pull off specific punches rather than relying on button combinations with the traditional 3. This isn't a requirement, you can still use the regular controller just fine, but it's nice to have this option. Also, Greatest Heavyweights is significantly faster paced. I know that the pace increases in career mode as you build up your speed attribute, but by default, this game is faster and the frame rate is smoother. Now, what did they take away? With your custom boxer, you can't choose between left or right-handed anymore, and there's no longer an attribute for defense. It's just power, speed, and stamina. Oh, and the cheat code where you enter the Beast to get an Incredible Hulk-like monster with maxed out attributes that I inexplicably didn't mention in my review of Real Deal, that isn't in this game either. However, you do get 3 options for body size with your custom fighter, as well as more colors on your palette to choose for skin, hair, and trunks, including a green skin option to recreate the Beast if you want. For some reason, I created a pink beast and named him Jackass when I had this game as a young teenager. I have no clue what possessed me to do that, but it lives on in insider lore amongst my brother and myself. Anyway, there are other little things that they throw in there, like 3 judges now instead of just 1. The map is now a straight-ahead view as opposed to overhead, and there are more sample clips with the trash-talking option, even with the made-up fighters. The real-life boxers have their own unique trash-talking clips as well as voices. Speaking of voices, the icing on the cake for this game is the inclusion of Michael Buffer, or at least an imitation of his voice, as ring announcer, using his iconic catchphrase to begin each match.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Real Deal Boxing was a great game, but Greatest Heavyweights took everything that was great about it and kicked it up a notch. It may be a button masher for the most part, but it's a fun button masher, and there's definitely more strategy than it might look, or even feel. You'll often find yourself going for specific combos to counteract different opponents that seem to behave differently. Like, some of these guys tend to leave their body or head exposed more often. It's not insanely deep, but it's enough to keep the game from getting tedious from one boxer to another. This also applies to the real-life boxers who have rudimentary styles based on their real-life counterparts. Like, Ali will bounce around and try to catch you off guard, while Marciano will be more aggressive. It's another neat layer added to the game that also makes those tournaments more interesting. At the end of the day, you won't need any other boxing games in the 16-bit era, aside from Super Punch-Out, which is an entirely different type of game. If you're looking for a boxing sim, Greatest Heavyweights is the way to go. And that'll wrap up this edition of Aqualung's Game Reviews. See you next time.